What's going on, everybody? It's Ricky with Videohomicide, back with another movie review / recommendation. Today, we're going to go back to the year 1981 to take a look at another film directed by Lucio Fulci. We've got The Beyond. Yes, one of my favorites. This right here, I didn't watch the VHS. I watched the Blu-ray on this viewing, but this is the VHS that first brought this film to my attention. So years ago, my uncle was getting rid of a bunch of his VHS, and because he was making the upgrade to Blu-ray, he was just tossing them. And me and my dad went over to my grandpa's place where he had all the films, just loaded up bags of movies, and just ended up with, a lot of my like Bava, Argento, Fulci type tapes came from his collection. So I'm stoked to still own this stuff. But the other night me and my wife watched City of the Living Dead. And then last night I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm kind of feeling The Beyond. So digged it out, boom, popped her in, and fucking absolutely love this film. So I think that The Beyond, I still like City of the Living Dead better, but I think The Beyond is a more, easier film to follow in terms of you're not following multiple groups of people in their situations. With this one, you're pretty much following the main girl, who is Catherine McCall, who's also in House by the Cemetery and City of the Living Dead. She inherits a hotel down in New Orleans where all this crazy shit happened way back in the 20s. There was this painter guy that was basically labeled a warlock, and the townsfolk came by car, they came by boat to kill this motherfucker, and they kill him in a pretty vicious way. They fuck him up with chains and end up taking him down to the basement, and they basically crucify his ass to the wall and then throw a bunch of, I don't know if it's hot plaster or hot clay, some type of fucked up liquid is thrown all over this guy, and he's there encased in this shit for years. And then obviously years later, when this woman comes from New York to inherit her hotel, she starts getting people to come do renovations and stuff, people doing siding, people doing painting, plumbing, all that stuff. And Joe the plumber, actually, he wasn't the first kill. So there's a guy up on the roof, up on the scaffolding. He's like painting the side of the house, and then he looks in the house and he sees this girl with fucking white eyes, and he falls off the scaffolding, and he's like laying on the couch. He's like, the eyes. I love that shit. And he's bleeding out the motherfucking ass. So one thing about this film, doesn't really fuck around, waste any time. We get right into it. We get this plumber showing up, and he goes down to the basement, and he discovers where this leak is coming from because the place is all flooded to shit, and he gets killed. He basically gets killed by the painter guy comes out of the wall and does him in. But it's not just about like having an amazing story, but having like these amazing moments and set pieces throughout the film. I was reading a few reviews of this last night, and some guy said, it's not really a good movie. It's just a bunch of really good scenes put together. And I gotta disagree. I think this is a great film. I think it's fucking awesome. Some of my favorite moments in the film, without sort of giving you the whole fucking breakdown. I'm sure if you're watching this, you've probably seen this. And if you haven't seen it, please stop watching this video. Go watch it. It's probably on YouTube. You could find it somewhere. You can find it on the Grindhouse Blu-ray. There's Blue Underground, I think, put it out. Arrow, all this fucking shit. There's no shortage of The Beyond out there in the wild. Spider scene. Okay, so we got a guy that goes up on like one of those old-timey fucking library walls where you need a ladder. It's 40 feet in the air. He's up there. He ends up falling on his ass, cracks his head open, but all these little fucking spiders come creeping along. Some real, some fake, or at least some fake looking. And they bite his ass to shit. They're biting his tongue, biting his nose, just fucking him up. There's another, like, I think that scene's really good, but I think my favorite scene is when, there's the blind girl. This is later on in the film, but this little blind girl who's sort of like escaped hell, which is where everyone's going to end up in this film, essentially. She escapes hell, and she's back at her home, and she has this dog named Dickie, and all these monsters come up and, about to kill her ass, and she's like, get him, Dickie. So, like, the dog's biting the shit out of all these zombies, and then the barking just stops, and she's like, what the fuck? And then the dog turns on her, bites her fucking throat open. Love that shit, man. I love it. I love the main guy who's like a mortician. We got this mortician guy who, has a gun in his office, of course, but he's capping a bunch of these motherfuckers. But, like, it pisses me off because certain times he, like, shoots the guy in the head right away, boom, he falls down. Other times he's, like, shooting him in the fucking shoulder and all that. I thought that was hilarious, but there's no real like, I feel like this is the type of movie that there's no Night of the Living Dead to let you know that you got to shoot him in the head. You know what I'm saying? I like that. So it's just sort of all over. And then, of course, when he runs out of bullets at the end, he just throws the gun at them like that's going to fucking stop them. But, you know, that's something that's in a lot of flicks. Gun runs out of bullets, toss the thing. We got a really cool scene in a mortuary, or in a morgue, or I guess like a body room, whatever the fuck you want to call it, in a hospital, where this little girl who's like the daughter of Joe the plumber, her and her mother go there to sort of dress his body and all this stuff, but then she ends up getting her ass killed. Like the mother gets killed, and then the little girl is basically scarred because she ends up running into she like opens up a cupboard or something, and this zombie from the cover here ends up popping out and basically makes her go blind. She's seen hell or whatever, and for the rest of the movie, when it shows her, it like doesn't show her eyes at all, like until like it reveals, because there's parts where the little red-haired girl's running around with Catherine McCall's character and the mortician guy. She ends up revealing that she is a zombie, and then the guy just caps her ass like instantly. And it's actually on a poster. I had like a mini poster framed at my old apartment where it was just like it's like a 2-second shot in the film, but that little red-haired girl getting her fucking brains blown out. Huge hollow hole. Loved it. Loved when her mom dies also. So her mom gets like this acid shit poured on her. Like, I love how in these morgues and hospital settings, laboratory settings, there's always like this incredibly corrosive toxic material in a comically large jar with no lid. You know, just easily fucking guys like working on something, knocks it over, spills it all over his feet. Now he's got the boniest feet in the fucking world. But getting into sort of the end of this film, we got our girl Catherine McCall and the mortician running through the fucking hospital. They end up going down these stairs, and then they end up in the basement of the hotel, which is across town. And from there, they end up actually going into hell. And it's revealed that this painter guy, he'd been working on this painting when they came to kill him, and that is hell, basically, because they walk into his painting, like it's the same composition and all that stuff, and then it sort of fades back to the painting, which I love. I think this is great. This is much more better ending than City of the Living Dead, that's for sure, with that fucking just, you know, pause on the little kid's face, and then it goes all cracky and shit. I don't know, man. I think that this one is more, I don't know if comprehensive is the word, but just more easy to digest. You know, like you can watch City of the Living Dead and enjoy it on your first go about, but like after you've watched it multiple times, that's when I really gain the appreciation for that film. So The Beyond, okay, highly recommended. If you've not seen it, check it out. Gianetto De Rossi back on the effects. Of course, he did the effects on Zombie. He did the effects on City of the Living Dead. One of the best Italian makeup artists out there. So I do think that the zombies look way better in City of the Living Dead as well, also, I gotta admit. But still, you can't skip this flick, man. If you're getting into Italian horror, if you're getting into horror in general, like it shouldn't be, like I know there's all these subgenres and stuff like that, but if you're just getting into horror, someone comes up, hey, I'm getting into horror films, what should I watch? You should watch the Gates of Hell trilogy. You should watch the Dawn of the Dead films, like Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead. You should watch, Maniac. You should watch Exorcist. Like, name off some good ones for people to get into this, not hobby, or I guess it's a hobby. It's more of a lifestyle. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like I consider myself a collector, but I'm not actively collecting. What I have is pretty much everything I want, other than stuff that's ridiculously expensive. So. Again, you can find these movies online in various places. You can watch them on YouTube in certain cases. I know Zombie's on there, which is phenomenal film. Phenomenal. So, going back to what I just said, City of the Living Dead has better zombies than The Beyond, but Zombie has better zombies than any fucking movie I've ever seen, and I stand by that. And I will say, it's been a while since I watched it, but this flick right here, called Burial Ground, has really good looking zombies as well. I don't know who did the special effects. But with that being said, one other thing that I forgot to mention is there's actually comics based on The Beyond, based on City of the Living Dead and Zombie, put out by Avon Press, which I've shown in the past. Fucking deadly comics. They're all out of print and just impossible to find now without getting your fucking butt cheeks spread to pay the bill on it. But I got to admit, man, we're living in a cool age where a lot of this stuff is readily available to watch. You know what I mean? It's not like the old days, like the days of my Uncle Mike having to order a copy of The Beyond from a fucking magazine catalog or something. Now it's like, oh fuck, you can go to the store. Like, we got a place called Cinema One, which is overpriced and a lot of stuff, but they got a lot of good stuff. Odyssey Records, great fucking music and movie shop in town. If you're lucky enough to have places like that, definitely support them when you can. I'm not saying go broke supporting a local business. That's one thing that I will stand by, man. I'm all for supporting local, but you also have to make sure your own bills are paid and all that stuff. A lot of people go into fucking severe debt collecting, which is insane. I've mentioned before in a video, there's this chick that made a video talking about her debt from collecting physical media, and it was like 25K. You're 25K in debt for fucking movies? You better have you better have Moods' collection. You know what I mean? Like, you better have a fucking insane collection for that kind of debt. You go over to her house, it's just like every Marvel film and every fucking Disney film and just a bunch of dog shit, you know? I don't know. Not every Disney movie's dog shit, but there's a lot of shitty ones, especially in the last, 50 years or whatever. Like, all the good Disney films, as far as I'm concerned, were made way back when. You know, Pinocchio, I think, was 1940? You know. But anyways, I digress. I appreciate everybody for watching. Make sure you leave a 666 in the comments. Fulci lives, and adios.